Alongside all of the drives towards expansion and profit-making by the bourgeoisie, dragging the apparatus of state behind it, Europeans at home were trying to make sense of both the collapsed nobility and the seeming lack of fundamental principles of human equality that they had envisioned. Two popular ideologies emerged from these explorations and cemented themselves so deeply in our consciousness that scarce any theory or fact that is not in alignment with these two, even today, is treated as suspect. These are class thinking, and that history is a matter of class struggle, and race thinking, that it is a natural conflict between races. I should point out early here that Arendt does not equate race thinking with racism, though each is powerful and dangerous. For Arendt, race thinking came first, an ideology that pretends to be a singular answer to how the world operates, that blood determines difference, that some are more worthy than others, and the like. We'll see writers like Boulainvilliers and Gobineau as key figures used to explain why the nobles of France are of a far finer race than the democratically minded middle class. Only when it's used for the pursuit of political power, fueling imperialism, used as a tool for spreading hate and fear, does race thinking manifest into the more insidious racism. Now these are Arendt's descriptions, and I think we can see why she distinguishes. The race thinker ideas are unsound, require reframing, but they are not put into any kind of political action to shift power. But politics can use this way of thinking as a tool, whether it believes the ideology or not, to foster fear and to build more power. Racism as policy for Arendt creates followers that enact that policy, but perhaps themselves may be ignorant or naive about the tools they've become. A shoemaker may enact a racist policy for customers, yet remain unaware that they have been provoked to their racist actions by politics. Now, Arendt reviews a lot of thinkers through this chapter, from Benjamin Disraeli again to Edmund Burke and the broad swath of German romantics, right through Darwin and the uses his theory has been put to justify eugenics. Even so, she rarely marks these people as anything but deluded or foolish. The Romantics she blames for arbitrary and dangerous thinking, but she notes that much of their work was in pursuit of social reputation rather than political change. In other words, German Romantic writers like Thomas Mann, Adam Mueller, Friedrich Schlegel are basically irresponsible influencers, playing games with ideas with very little consciousness of what they may look like when acquired by political power for its own purposes. And the people that read and believe these writers? Arendt calls them, quote, essentially harmless and politically innocent, probably equally capable of being controlled by any other ideology which came along. Now I am a little less forgiving, I'm afraid. I don't disagree that people are duped, suckered into pleasing words and beliefs, no matter how dangerous. We see it around us, right now. And I don't disagree that too many influencers are more interested in self-promotion than responsible citizenship. Even their self-aggrandizing title of influencer speaks nothing of their measure of responsibility. They openly parade as the worst we've ever said of Greek sophism. Where I have a harder time is forgiving them for it, which Arendt seems set to do here. If we are to forgive the 19th century's most celebrated writers and thinkers for a failure to understand that their words have weight, and if we are willing to overlook everyone who reads them and uncritically believes, what statement are we making about our capacity for human critical thought, the need for it, and our accountability to it? Now, certainly, some thinkers are responsible in Arendt's approach. Perhaps those politicians who will write policies on race and hate. But couldn't we say that many of them have been equally duped? Is everyone in Washington, for instance, equally culpable of responsibility for their behavior because they are in places of policymaking, and everyone who's outside of it merely a victim? Are we suggesting that some few elite brains are more capable of being responsible and accountable than most common brains? Surely not. That would be the very thing that she here decries, superiority doctrine. Now, I'm not challenging Arendt here just yet. After all, I'm not half done with her book. But I am raising the question because she herself is careful to point out that these follower types are innocent, and she explicitly compares them to modern intellectuals who make similar claims. And it's going to be another decade after writing this book that Arendt finds the phrase banality of evil to describe Eichmann and other Nazi criminals, that evil is just boring people following orders. There's too much to say here. But my gut response is that I understand that not all humans think with the same capacity, and that the opportunities to learn and grow are socially and politically unequal. But I also believe that our willingness to open ourselves to new ideas, to listen and learn through our lifetimes, to consider and reconsider our words and actions, are choices most anyone can make, and these carry responsibility. Today you may be a racist, and maybe you were raised in that ideological muck. But what will you be tomorrow and the day after? That's on you.